This video is on subtraction of whole numbers. Subtraction is the operation where one amount is taken away from another amount, leaving the difference. The top number in a subtraction problem is called the minuend. The bottom number is called the subtrahend. And our answer is called the difference. Phrases that indicate subtraction. And also note that the order of subtraction for the following phrases in red are reversed. So these are some of the phrases: minus, subtract, take away, difference, subtracted from, less than, and decreased by. So these two phrases in red, the order is reversed: subtracted from and less than. Let's look at some examples. Translate and simplify the following. The difference of 15 and 9. So difference is one of the phrases that indicates subtraction. So right in between the 15 and 9, we're going to replace this word and with a subtraction symbol. 15 minus 9. And 15 minus 9, 6. Here's our next one. 3 subtracted from 10. This is one of the phrases in red here where the order is reversed. So the second number is written first before the subtraction symbol. So 10 will go first and the 3 will go second. 10 minus 3, which is 7. And here's our next one, 8 less than 12. Again, less than is one of the phrases where we reverse the order. The second number is written first. 12 minus 8, and the answer is 4. So with these two phrases, subtracted from and less than, we need to reverse the order. The second number is written first. Let's also note that subtraction is not commutative. Commutative means that the order does not matter, but the order does matter. 10 minus 3 is 7. 3 minus 10, well, we're not doing negative numbers yet, but we get an idea that if you have $3 and you take away 10, you're going to be short 7. It's actually a negative 7. So we do not get the same answer if you reverse the order. Therefore, subtraction is not commutative. It's also not associative. Remember that parentheses mean to do that operation first. So here we have the same numbers, 15, 7, and 3, in the same order, but the parentheses have changed positions. So if we do the problem on the left first, 7 minus 3 is 4, and then 15 minus 4, that'll give us 11. If we do the problem on the right, and we do the parentheses first, that will give us 8, and 8 minus 3 is 5. So the answer is different. We can then say that subtraction is not associative. Unlike addition, addition was commutative and associative, but subtraction is neither. Okay, let's do a subtraction problem now without borrowing. The next problem will deal with borrowing. To subtract whole numbers, we write the problem vertically, aligning the digits by place value. Then subtract each digit moving from the right to the left. Okay, subtract 53 from 795. Remember that subtract from, we have to reverse the order. So the second number is written first. So 795 on top minus the 53. And then we're going to go ahead and subtract vertically. 5 minus 3, 2, 9 minus 5, 4, and then there's no number below the 7, so bring down the 7, 742. Okay, now we'll talk about borrowing. Borrowing is a process that is used when the lower digit is larger than the upper digit. And here's our procedure. Line out the digit to the left of the upper digit, subtract 1 from it, and write this new digit above. Add 10 to the original upper digit by placing a 1 in front of the number. Then we could subtract the lower digit. Proceed to the next column on the left, and then we'll continue the same process. Okay, let's look at some examples. Subtract 38 from 95. Remember to put the second number first or on top. Okay, now here the lower digit is an 8, the upper digit is a 5. We cannot subtract 8 from 5. That means we need to borrow. So we're going to line out the digit to the left of the upper digit. So to the left would be the 9. So you go to the number to the left and line out that number 9. And we're going to subtract a 1 from it. So if we subtract 1 from 9, that's going to make it an 8. And then we're going to write a 1 in front of the upper digit. So that now becomes a 15. So this 9 was a tens place. We actually borrowed a 10 from the 9 and added the 10 to the ones place. That's why it now became 15. Now we could subtract 15 minus 8 is 7. 8 minus 3, we don't need to borrow. It's a good thing because there's not a number next to it. 8 minus 3 would be 5. So our answer is 57. If we wanted to check your answer, you could actually add the 38 and 57, and you should end up with 95. If it doesn't work out, then there's a mistake. So you could always check by adding your answer to the subtrahend. Remember, top number was called the minuend, bottom number is called the subtrahend. Alright, let's do another problem. Perform the subtraction. 573 minus 387. You may want to pause the video, work it out on your own, and then come back when you're done. Okay, so let's get started. 7 from 3. We can't perform the subtraction, so we need to borrow. So we're going to borrow a 1 from the 7. Borrow 1 from the 7 and make that a 6. And then place a 1 in front of the 3. Now that becomes a 13. So we actually borrowed a 10 from the tens place and added it to the ones place. Now we can perform the subtraction. 13 minus 7 is 6. Now we go on to the next column to the left. 8 from 6. 6 minus 8, can't do it. So we got to borrow from the next number on the left. It's a 5, so we're going to subtract 1 from 5. That becomes a 4, and then we'll add that 1 to the 6, right in front of the 6. When we borrowed a 1 from the 5, this is the hundreds place. So we actually borrowed 100 from the hundreds place, and we added, this 1 represents a 10, but because it's in the tenth place, it's actually 10 tens, which is 100. So we can now subtract 8 from 16. 16 minus 8 is 6. Pardon me. 16 minus 8 is 8. And now we can subtract 3 from 4. 4 minus 3 is 1. 186. Okay, let's try one more problem. Perform the subtraction 450 minus 153. Again, we cannot subtract 3 from 0, so we're going to borrow 1 from the 5. That becomes a 4, and then place a 1 in front of the 0, so that's 10. Now we can subtract. Now we can go on to this tens column. We cannot subtract 5 from 4, so we're going to have to borrow from the left. Subtract 1 from the 4. That becomes a 3, and now place a 1 in front of the 4. So 14 minus 5 is 9. And then 3 minus 1 is 2. So 297. Okay, when we have zeros, sometimes it gets a little bit confusing. When the digit to the left of the upper digit is 0, the zeros are lined out and replaced by 9s. And then the first non-zero digit to the left is borrowed from. So here we have 4002 minus 2375. We cannot subtract 5 from 2, so we have to borrow from the number to the left, but it's a 0. The number to the left of that one is a 0. Finally, the number to the left of that 0 is a 4. So we're going to borrow from this 4. Okay. That makes it a 3, and then we're going to put a 9 in place of this 0, a 9 in place of the next 0, and then a 1 in front of the 2. So you could also think of it as borrowing a 1 from 400, which becomes 399. So borrow 1 from this 4, and then it's a 3 above it, and then a 9 in place of the zeros until we put that 1 in front of the 2. Now we can subtract. 7, 9 minus 7 is 2, 9 minus 3 is 6, and 3 take away 2 is 1. Answer is 1627. Okay, word problem. In June, the Big Bear Boutique sold $24,027 worth of merchandise, but in July it sold only $19,452 worth of merchandise. How much more did the boutique sell in June than in July? So how much more? What operation does that indicate? Sometimes it could indicate addition, but they're comparing the two. How much more do they sell one month than the next month? It's a subtraction problem. Like if they said, how much older is somebody? Well, that's a subtraction problem. If one person is 30 years old and the next person is 27, how much older? That would be a subtraction problem. 3 years. Okay. So let's go ahead and subtract those two numbers. The larger number is going to be on top, smaller number on the bottom. And then go ahead and we could subtract the first numbers. 7 minus 2 is 5. And here's the next number, 2 take away 5. We can't do it, so we're going to need to borrow. But the number to the left of it is a 0, so we're going to have to go to the 4. Again, subtract 1 from the 4. Put a 9 in place of that 0, and then we could put a 1 in front of the 2. Think of that 40 think of that 4 as a 40 right here. So subtracting 1 from 40 is 39. And then we can put the 1 in front of the 2. Now we can subtract 7. 9 take away 4 is 5. And here's a 3. We cannot subtract 9 from 3, so again we need to borrow. Now we can subtract 13, take away 9 is 4. And 1 minus 1 is 0, so we do not need to write that 0 down. That's the first digit. So there's our answer, $4,575. Okay, that's the end of this video, and I'll see you here for the next one.